Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Refuron, and today we're going to be going over some builds for the Flamethrower. I've been getting quite a few comments recently about updated guides or updated build guides for each of the base weapons, because some of them have changed over the patches since I made the original build guides for them. So I'm going to be redoing all those builds and updating them, as well as I'm going to include the overclock builds that I run with each of the overclocks for these weapons, and I'm going to be using the site karl.gg for this. If you would like to use this site, just type in karl.gg and you're right here. You can check out other builds that people make, as well as submit your own builds. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the builds that I use for some of these weapons, and then the overclock builds that I use for some of these weapons as well. We're going to be talking about them kind of briefly. And first up, we're going to start out with the Flamethrower, which, since I have made the last video about a year ago, the Flamethrower has not been changed, nor has any of its overclocks been changed. So if you've seen the first video, this video will probably seem kind of familiar. However, some of the other weapons are going to be a bit different once we get to them. First up, for the Flamethrower, in Tier 1, we either have larger tank size or longer reach. Both these are pretty great, and honestly, just pick whichever one you like more. You do technically get a little bit more value with the larger tank, because anytime that you resupply, you'll get a little bit extra fuel, just because your max carry weight is a little bit more. But the flame reach is also really nice, especially if you're struggling with flying enemies, which Driller can. So pick whichever one of these you like. I usually go with the higher tank size, unless I know there's like a Macterra Plague or something, then I go with the high pressure injector. In Tier 2, we have unfiltered fuel to give us more damage. We have heat radiance to give us more heat. This one actually did sort of get buffed since we last talked about it, because the robots were introduced. And if you light a robot on fire, it will kill it instantly. So the more heat that you have on your weapon, the faster you'll build up the heat meter, so the more likely it is to catch on fire. This one's really good if you want to go with a heat build, which I'll show in the second one. This first one is just kind of my general purpose build for the Flamethrower. And then our last one is sticky flame duration. Great if you want to go with a sticky flame build. Usually I go with unfiltered fuel just to have more damage. In Tier 3, we have flow rate, which is more like damage per second. It's how fast you can spray out the fuel from your Flamethrower. Sticky flame slowdown to slow down enemies. And we have more fuel. Usually I go with more fuel here for just the utility of it. I like to run a lot of ammo on the Flamethrower. That way I have plenty of ammunition for as long as the mission's going to take. So if I'm not getting a whole lot of nitra and we're not getting a whole lot of resupplies, it's not a big deal. But sticky flame slowdown is still really good. I don't really take the extra flow rate. It is noticeable as to how much damage per second you can get out of it, but I don't find it as useful as these other two. In Tier 4, we have fear. This one's pretty good if you want to fear enemies. It's good against big things because the Flamethrower doesn't kill big things all that fast, so you can scare away Praetorians potentially. It does scare away things like guards pretty well too, but against slashers and regular grunts, you're probably going to kill them pretty fast, as well as any sort of small thing you're going to kill really quick. So I don't always take the fear all that often. Then we've got sticky flame slowdown. Again, good if you want to go with sticky flames, not a bad option. And then we have more fuel. I usually take more fuel because, like I said, I like having a lot of ammo. The maximum amount of ammo you have is also related to how much ammo you get when you get in a resupply. So with the base, you get 50% of whatever your total ammo is, and in this case, you would get 150. With this one, you get quite a bit more. You get an extra 75 from it. And then in Tier 5, we have heat radiance, which burns everything around you while you're just using the Flamethrower in general. I have had this one kind of backfire on me while I've backed up into stuff that you can burn and have explode, like the freezing crystal things at the glacial strata. I've gotten frozen with that, which is kind of sucked. But as long as you're aware of your surroundings, it shouldn't be too bad, I would say. And then we have targets explode. Whenever you kill an enemy with the direct stream from the fire, you have to burn them directly. It can't be from the sticky flames. But if you burn them directly, there's a 50% chance that they explode, dealing fire damage to everything around them, and also building up their heat meter too. Both these are really good. It really depends on what you like. I usually go with targets explode with the base form, but heat radiance is also pretty good. That is my general purpose build. If you wanted to go with a heat build, you could go with either of these again. Go with the triple filtered fuel. Maybe take some more fuel. You could go with sticky flame slowdown or the fear or the ammo, whichever one you like, and then go with something like heat radiance. This build I found to be pretty good against any of the robots. So if you plan on taking this on an industrial sabotage mission, or if you have a feeling that you're going to get a prospector, or if you're having a lot of trouble with a prospector or with the data vaults, try this one out, because you can torch the robots really fast and they will die almost instantly, really, as soon as they catch fire. It's actually really nice to take on industrial sabotage missions. And then if you were going to go with a sticky flame slowdown build, again, just pick whichever one of these you would like. go with maybe the sticky flame slowdown here, the sticky flame slowdown here. You don't really need double duration on the sticky flames, I don't find, so I usually go with more fuel here, just because it's a little bit nicer for me, and then either heat radiance or targets explode, it's your choice. These are usually the 3 builds that I run with the flamethrower, either the sticky flames to slow down crowds. I might take this if our team has a lot of single target damage, so maybe we have multiple scouts or something, or I know people are running like hyper propellant on their grenade launchers. I usually go with the heat build if I'm going to go on an industrial sabotage mission, or if I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of robots around. And then I take the general purpose build, which is just kind of this for pretty much every other mission if I just want to kill things quickly. So those are the regular builds without any overclocks. Let's talk about each of the overclocks. And the flamethrower's got some of the most basic overclocks where they just enhance the flamethrower. They don't really change it that much. So there isn't any sort of crazy mechanic that goes into any of these. Our first one is lighter tanks. This gives you 75 more fuel. You can run any of the builds that I just recommended with this, whatever you'd like. I usually like running kind of a sticky flame build with it, at least going with something like this. And it's basically the same as my regular build, but you know, I went with the sticky flame duration. You could run the fear with it. I like that one too. You could just run all ammo if you want the most amount of ammo and you don't want to run out. That's pretty good. Well, this isn't technically the most. It's the second most amount of ammo, but it's still a lot of ammo. Like many clean overclocks, this works with whatever you want to take with it. So if you want to take the exact same general purpose build, that'll work. If you want to take the heat build, that'll work. If you want to take the slowdown build, that will work too. Then we've got sticky additive, another overclock that pairs pretty much with any of these other ones. Again, you can go with the sticky flame build. You could go with the general purpose build. You go with a fear build. You go with the heat build. All of them will work just fine because this is 1 extra damage per particle of fire and 1 extra second of sticky flame. This one's pretty nice, even though I don't really use this one that much. It is nothing but a bonus, so just pick whatever you'd like with this. Then we've got the balanced overclocks. Our first one is compact feed valves, and this one increases our tank size by 25, so we get our tier 1 right here. It also gives us 75 more fuel, so we get one of these extra fuel things here. We lose out on 2 meters of flame reach, and our reload is 0.2 seconds longer. The reload is not even noticeable at all. At least I don't notice it when I'm using it. The extra fuel is quite noticeable, though. The flame reach, it depends. If you're used to using something like Face Melter, this one's not going to bother you that much. If you're not used to that and you're used to going with like full reach flamethrower, then this one's going to be a little bit weird in getting used to. You can go with either the high capacity tank and have 100 fuel. This makes it very easy for you to take care of crowds. It takes a very long time for you to actually run out of fuel from your gun. You could also go with the high pressure injector and have that extra 3 meters of reach and pretty much completely negate the downside of this one. And that one's a great option too. Again, you can go with max fuel if you want with this. That is an option, and it is a fun way to use the weapon. You have a ton of ammo for this. It takes a very long time to run out. And you can also use the sticky flame slowdown build. You can use the heat build. Really whatever you'd like with this one too. This one's pretty flexible as well. Next we have fuel stream diffuser. Now this one increases your reach by 5 meters. However, it lowers your flow rate. The lowered flow rate is a little bit noticeable, but the extra reach is quite nice, especially if you want to go with the extra reach and double the length of your flame. This is the way that I like to use this one. I don't usually go with high capacity tanks, although it's not going to be a bad option by any means. And then beyond this, I usually just kind of go with one of my usual builds. So something like that, or again, the heat build. Again, kind of whatever you like. It's pretty flexible. And this does make it so you don't have to worry about any flying things. You usually don't even have to worry about things on the ceiling. Most of the time, you can reach the ceiling with the flamethrower if you want to go with this build, which is pretty fun. You do have to be a little bit careful of teammates, though. Most of the time, it's pretty easy to not burn teammates with the flamethrower, but this one is a little bit different. You can light teammates on fire kind of easy just because of the amount of reach you have. Alright, then we got the unstable overclocks, which even them, they're not that crazy either. We got Face Melter, which gives you the tier 3 for extra flow rate. This also gives you the tier 2 for extra damage. But you lose out on 15 tank size, so we're down to 35. And you lose out on reach, so we're at 7 meters rather than 10. In tier 1, both of these are pretty good options. I usually go with the high capacity tanks. I like having the 60 fuel more than the reach. I can get used to the reach. If you find the reach to be just too short for you, then go with the high pressure injector. This will give you a little bit more reach than what you normally have, so it'll feel kind of like the base flamethrower, but with less ammo. With this one, you can just build full damage. So you could go on unfiltered fuel, the oversized flow rate, more ammo, and then like targets explode. that is an option. It sprays out fire incredibly fast. It does a lot of damage. You can kill big things pretty fast if you want to go with this build. You could also just go with more ammo and have more damage on top of it. At that point, you're just having a slightly shorter reaching flamethrower with a little bit less tank size, but a lot more damage and a lot more damage per second. This is usually the way that I like to build it. I don't really go with the heat build or with the slowdown build if I'm using face melter. This is all just for direct damage, so I definitely take targets explode here too. And then our last overclock is sticky fuel. This one lowers our maximum fuel, lowers our tank size, gives us more sticky flame damage, and increases the sticky flame duration from 2 seconds all the way up to 8 seconds. So sticky flames sit on the ground for a very long time. This can get you a lot of value if you let the flames just sit there and burn anything that walks across it. You can go with the full sticky flame duration build and have up to 14 seconds of sticky flames that also slow down enemies. This is definitely overkill and I wouldn't really recommend it. The way that I build this is usually going with a higher tank size so we can go back up to the normal 50, going with extra damage, so if we do burn something directly, we are doing a bit more damage, although any of these in tier 2 are fine. Going with the sticky flame slowdown in tier 3 because it just slows down enemies so much more and our flames are sitting around for so long. Going with more fuel in tier 4, this way we get back to the normal amount of fire that we have, and then going with heat radiance because targets explode once again does not trigger on the floor fire, it triggers on direct fire. It's not going to be a bad option if you want to take it. It can still work pretty well in crowd control, but I find the heat radiance works a bit better. So that goes over the basic builds as well as all the overclock builds. The flamethrower is incredibly flexible. You can run just about anything on it with any build. Some builds I'd recommend not doing certain things, like you probably want to go full damage if you're going with face melter, and you probably want to go with some slowdown and some ammo if you're going with sticky fuel because they benefit from it. But really everything else you can build whatever the heck you want on it. It'll work. So we're going to be looking at the cryo cannon next. I am working on a longer video on Deep Rock that's going to be taking more time. So these videos will probably be going up a little bit more often, more so than the full-length videos that I have been doing. And if you want to see some of the full-length builds of particular overclocks or just the regular builds that I've ran on Hazard 5 without any overclocks, I do have videos for some of those. I do plan on making videos for each of them, but that's going to be coming in the future. So check those videos out. Thanks everybody for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to check out Karl.gg as well. It's a great site to help you figure out what type of build you want to run, what kind of damage you're doing, and what the overclocks do for each of your weapons. Special thanks to the supporters of this channel. These are my members over here on YouTube and my patrons over on Patreon. They get early access to videos like this. And if you would like to be a part of that, you can. There are links down in the description. Thanks everybody who does that. I really do appreciate it. And remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.